December 1914. Already British, French, Belgian, and German soldiers have seen the horrors of the Marne and the First Battle of Ypres. Flanders Field sees unprecedented slaughter. The war that was supposed to have been decided by Christmas has already claimed more than 1 million lives and shows no signs of stopping. Fighting on the Western Front is cruel, ugly. The trench system is still in its infancy and lacks the refinement seen in later years. It is muddy, wet, hastily made, unsanitary, and bloody. Thousands of men die every day in the muck. The winter of 1914 is equally unforgiving. Weeks of snow, rain, and bitter winds whip across no man's land. Freezing temperatures are a truer enemy than any found in a trench. Hope appears lost, yet glimmers remain, and the weeks preceding Christmas provide a near perfect storm for what was to take place. Informal ceasefires had been sporadically seen on the front, allowing each side to retrieve their fallen. This was as much goodwill as it was simple sanitation, but regardless of the motivation, the groundwork had been laid. Back home, citizen support for their fighting men was high, which resulted in a flood of parcels across the English Channel containing all manner of clothes, letters, tobacco, and food. Tommies even received Princess Mary boxes, a small metal box engraved with the visage of King George V's daughter and filled with a letter from King George, a picture of Princess Mary, and confectionaries such as chocolate, butterscotches, and also cigarettes. German troops received similar boxes from the Kaiser and various commanders. For troops, that meant photographs of their leaders, cigarettes, and even decorative pipes. For officers, it was often boxes of cigars. This outpouring of generosity might have been enough to make most soldiers pine for home. But the men in the trenches, despite the deadly cold, the knee-high water, the mud, and the dead, it inspired something different. As Christmas approached, Christmas hymns and carols were sung with increasing frequency, and even cordial communication were shouted to the enemy, who at times was entrenched as close as 30 yards away. Christmas Day. Away from the front, church services were held for men, and makeshift Christmas feasts were held with what could be assembled from their care packages. But in the trenches, something magical took place. The Germans displayed Christmas trees and lights on their parapets. The carols that had been sung were now being exchanged between sides by request and often to applause, and the shouted communications now turned into tentative invitations, initiated mostly by the Germans. One can only imagine the fear and reluctance to trust such invitations from men who only the day before had been trying to kill the very soldiers they now beckoned. Placing your faith in the goodwill of an enemy soldier could very well cost your life, and for what? However, it wasn't just one brave man who rose above his trench to face his enemy under the guise of a ceasefire. All along the Western Front are documented moments where opposing soldiers met in no man's land, not just to arrange ceasefires to collect their dead, but to cease all fighting for one peace-filled night, to shake hands and share the recently obtained riches of cigars and chocolates, songs, gifts, whiskey, cheese, and uniform buttons. There were even games of soccer played, made possible by the hard frost, the clear, finally rainless skies, still winds, and an overwhelming relief from the yoke of war. Standing to meet one's enemy is an unimaginable act of faith and courage. The tension as those first men approached one another must have been as real as their own breath swirling frozen in the winter air. The moment must have teetered on a knife's edge, waiting to be shattered by the crack from a single rifle. Yet no such reports of fighting exist. Festivities and laughter were shared through the night, and in the days that followed, it took some time before the usual caution and trench activities would resume. Unfortunately, it was to be the last time such actions occurred in the Great War. After higher-up officers heard of such fraternization, orders were quickly issued to prohibit any future festivities. The Christmas truce didn't take place everywhere. Indeed, French soldiers were understandably hesitant to celebrate on their own occupied soil. But along the Western Front, thousands of men, from Axis and Entente alike, left the safety of their trenches to meet, befriend, and break bread with their fellow man, even if only for one brief, shining moment. In its crudest terms, it was a simple series of unofficial ceasefires. But such brevity ignores the hope and the trusts and courage and humanity and the millennia-old longing for peace on earth and goodwill toward men.